Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And today I am so excited to share the beautiful Fond of Autumn bundle from the Stampin' Up! July-December mini catalog. Now, today was also a big day in our house. It was the first day of school for us. I am a teacher. For those who are new to my channel or to my Facebook page, I am a high school music department head. So today was our first day back to school. It's also my son's first day of grade 10. And I was kind of joking today that we're actually both in grade 10 because I have 3 more years, 2 more first days of school until I retire. So we both graduate in June of 2025. Very exciting. But today we are home from school and ready to do some stamping with you. And I am so excited about this bundle. It is one of my very favorites from the mini catalog. There's so many possibilities with it. It's super versatile and absolutely beautiful. So let me pull up my video here on my iPad so I can see who is watching here. All right. Hello, Anne. Hello, Tracy. Hope you're having a good week. So we are, as I said, about the Fond of Autumn bundle. I've been doing a lot of talking today, so my mouth is tired. So is my voice, but I think we'll be okay to get through. So in any case, the Fond of Autumn bundle is in the July-December mini catalog on page 52. I'll show it to you in a minute. I'm also going to highlight the Natural Tones collection of Stampin' Blends. Now, that is a collection that was released last spring, sold out really quickly, but then has come back in the annual catalog. And I was actually kind of surprised to hear that many people didn't realize that you could still get those fantastic markers. So I'm going to show you where to find them, and I'm going to use them on a couple of our projects today. So are you ready to get to some stamping? Here we go. I'm going to flip the camera and we are going to get right to it. All right, let's just adjust that a bit. There we go. We should be good. So, oh, there's my little spider friend. He's back. I have this little teeny tiny spider that's living on my desk here. And I keep moving him and he keeps coming back. So this is the layout in the catalog. It's a bundle. It's not part of a suite, but it works so well with so many products that we have. So the bundle in Canada is priced at $72 and it includes the stamps and dies. I'm going to show them to you in just one second. And before I do that, I want to also show you where to find the Natural Tone Stampin' Blend. So they're in the annual catalog on page 128. Okay, it's with all of the other coloring products, and they're way down here on page 128. Okay, so we're going to be using a bunch of these today, and I just want to make you aware of where you can find them so that if you love them, like I do, you can order them. Okay. All right. Oh, we've got more joining. Hi, Joyce. Hi, Mavis. Hi, Jacqueline. Thanks for joining me. All right. So our bundle is here. Our stamp set. This is a beautiful stamp set. This image is stunning and looks amazing. It's stamped, watercolored, heat embossed, you name it. It's just a beautiful image. Some beautiful sentiments, fun little banner that coordinates with a die. Speaking of dies, the dies are fantastic. So we have 3 large dies. So I'm going to explain how these work. This large one cuts out the stamped image. Now this won't line up because this is not 100%, but that cuts out that image. It also cuts out this detailed image. You're going to see this in action on the second card that we do. Actually, the first card, you're going to see it as a cutout. The second, you're going to see it as a die cut. Okay. And then we have this die that actually cuts this image into 4 pieces. So you can actually use the different elements of the stamp as individual elements, which is super cool. And then of course we have our beautiful banner that coordinates with the stamp set. We've got a single flower, an oak leaf, and an acorn. So an awesome die set. And you're going to see them in action. Okay. Are you ready? Oh, hi Connie. Welcome. So the first card we're going to make today is this one. Let me just straighten this out because that's going to bug me. I posted this earlier this morning and I just love this sort of vintage kind of vibe that's going on here. So I'm going to show you how we did it. We're going to use our Stampin' Blends to color. But to start, we're going to do a little bit of ink blending. So this is a piece of Kraft cardstock. It's cut to 4 by 5 1/4 inches. And I have used the cutout die. So let me just show you which one that is. So this one, just laid on top, you run it through. I kind of go back and forth a couple of times. And if you are having trouble getting a clean cut, I encourage you to try it with the blade up. That actually helps you get a cleaner cut. But in any case, it leaves this beautiful cutout, which I absolutely love. And so we're going to just kind of accentuate that a little bit with some early espresso ink. So I'm going to bring in my blending brush and my early espresso. And we're going to do a little bit of ink blending right over top of that cutout image. I want to darken it down a little bit and just make it sort of stand out from the background. So I'm just going to pull in a little bit of that dark brown color. The Kraft cardstock is fantastic and actually happens to be part of the weekly deals this week. On sale till tomorrow. Of course, Thursday we'll get a new batch of weekly deals. So if you haven't grabbed some Kraft cardstock yet, do it while it's still on sale. It's great for rustic kind of fall look. It's a little bit coarser cardstock. It's not great for stamping on with water-based ink like our classic inks. They do run a little bit, but you can heat emboss on it. You can stamp with like StazOn. It won't run because it's not water-based. Okay, so there we go. We've just added a little bit of color to that cutout to highlight it. And look at the pretty, it would be great to use as a stencil too. All right. Oh, Sonia, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. So there is our cutout. And then we have a beautiful copper foil mat. So I'm putting this behind my cutout because I want to see that copper coming through. And I also like the copper border. So we're going to go ahead and glue that. I'm going to use just a little bit of seal here. Now this copper piece is cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And once again, I will, as always, put the measurements in the video description when I am done, so that if you decide you want to recreate any of the cards that I'm showing you today, it's all in one spot for you. Okay, so there is our background. Isn't that pretty? Oh, love it. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and glue that onto our card base. Our card base is early espresso cardstock. It's 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we are going to fold that along our score line. Oh, hi Diane, thank you. I'm glad you like it. So let's just get a little bit of seal going here. And we're going to pop this on. Just going to have a narrow little border all the way around. Okay. Now we're going to work on our images. So I've already colored some of these. I've done the die cutting ahead of time. So I'm going to show you how I colored the leaves and the acorns on this one. So I just need to fill in my blends here. So the leaves are actually a little bit unexpected. I'm using ivory from the ivory and bronze combo, and then light crumb cake. Those two colors work really, really well together, I have discovered. So I'm going to start by laying down a little bit of ivory. Now I'm kind of doing a sort of haphazard color here. I'm not like going right to the edges of the image. I want it to look a little bit watercolored, a little bit faded. I'm not being super careful as I'm coloring here. And then I'm going to come in with my crumb cake, and I'm just going to kind of follow the veins of the leaves and add a little bit of that crumb cake. Okay. And then I'm going to just come back with my ivory again and just blend that a little bit. You don't have to do much blending. The crumb cake really fades into the ivory quite nicely. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Really simple, eh? Hi, Krista. Yes, it was a great first day of school. Actually, we had a sort of modified day, but it was a good one. Thank you for asking. All right, now to color these little leaves, I'm actually using my dark and light crumb cake. So this is a little bit more of a traditional approach. So I'm going to lay down a layer of the light on both leaves here. I should mention, I stamped these images in basic gray. So Memento, the Tuxedo Black Memento, is kind of the recommended ink to stamp your images with when you are going to use your Stampin' Blends. But we have several shades of classic ink that work with the blends and don't run. And the basic gray is one of them. So I like to use the basic gray just as a slightly softer look when I don't want a really stark image. Okay, so all I did is I put my light crumb cake down, added a bit of shadow with the dark, and then blended it out with the light. Okay, so that's the leaves. And then for our acorns, I actually used, what did I use? I got to think about this. I used, what is this? Number 500 and ivory again. Okay, so to start, I'm going to put down a layer of the ivory on my acorn. And then I'm going to add a little bit of a shadow with the 500, just kind of along the cap there. And then I'm going to blend that out again with the ivory. And those colors just work so well to give a really sort of soft brown. Okay. And then for the cap, I'm just using 500 as it is. I'm not doing any blending with it. So I'm just going to fill that in really quickly. Just like that. Okay. I love the soft vintage look that using these muted colors gives. Now I'll show you how I did the sprigs with the berries. So the leaves I did in light, what is this? Mint macaron. And again, I'm not being super careful. I'm not coloring the entire image. I'm just kind of adding a little bit of color to the leaves. Okay. And then for the berries, I used SU 600 from the Natural Tones. So I'm going to color my berries, all 4 of them. And again, I'm not being super careful, not making sure I go all the way to the ends. And then I'm just going to come back and do a quick swipe, sort of around the bottom, just to add a little bit of shadow. Sorry, my voice is cutting out. And there we go. That's it. Super simple, right? Okay, so then we are going to go ahead and arrange our sprigs. And I'm just going to kind of lay them on my card front, just to get an idea of where they're going to end up so that I can position them so that when I add my oak leaves, they're kind of tucked in behind. So then it's just a little bit of seal. Pop one on there. And yes, it is beautiful. Cheryl, these dies can actually be used in 2 ways. So we can do it this way as a peek through, or we can actually cut out the die cut, which you will see on the next card. So they're super versatile dies. So now we're going to go ahead and add our oak leaves. And I actually need to move this guy over a little bit. He's covered up. There we go. That's better. So we're going to add a couple of dimensionals to the back of our oak leaves and acorns here. Hi, Helen. Better late than never. Welcome. Glad you could join us today. So let's get rid of our backings here. Come on. They don't want to come off for some reason today. And we'll add our oak leaves. Okay. And then my little banner here, I've already stamped and heat embossed this in copper. I love that metallic look for fall. And then we're going to stamp our Sending Many Thanks in Early Espresso. So the beauty of this is, of course, that these stamps are photopolymer, so it's easy to see where you're stamping. So it's okay to die cut ahead of time. Normally I would stamp and then die cut, but in this case, because we have photopolymer stamps, we can get away with it. Okay. Hi, Peggy. Welcome. Glad you're joining me. Oh, Kathy, you're frozen. I'm sorry about that. You may need to log out and log back in. Sometimes that is a Facebook issue. It could be a Wi-Fi issue with your connection. All right, so I'm going to adhere my banner. This part here that's going over top of the popped up acorns, we're going to just glue with a little bit of seal. But over here where it's going to hang off, we're going to add a couple of dimensionals so that it lies nice and flat. So we'll get rid of our backings, and then we're going to add a little bit of seal to the end. And then that's going to go on. And I love that this banner is kind of like swoopy, so it doesn't really matter if you get it straight. It's a banner flying in the breeze, so it's okay. All right, so then we're going to add a little bit of twine. So this twine is pulled from the silver metallic twine that's in the mini. I just pull the threads out from it and get these individual threads. I like the sort of rustic, rough look that you get from those. So I just tied my little bow. I'm going to trim off my tails here. And we're going to add it just to the end of our banner there with a glue dot. So we're going to take and press the knot of our bow into a glue dot, and then just pop that onto the end of our banner. Now I might want to trim those a little bit more. Still a little bit on the long side, so we'll trim that off a little bit. There we go. That one's still a bit long too. Okay, that's better. And then the last touch is a little bit of bling with some champagne rhinestones, which work perfectly with this color palette. So I'm just going to grab a couple to tuck in around my little bouquet of leaves here. So I'm just going to do 1, 2, and we'll add one up here. Whoops, 3. There we go. Done and done. Now I'll just show you quickly on the inside of my sample. I did add an extra panel and did a little bit more stamping on the inside, and that's that. Easy peasy, right? Hope you like that one. We are going to move on to card number 2. All right, so here we go. Card number 2 is this one. So I wanted to highlight the versatility of this bundle, right? It is fond of autumn, so it naturally lends itself to fall cards. You like my word swoopy? Thank you, Tracy. Sometimes you just have to make up a word when there is an appropriate word for it, right? So I wanted to show how beautiful this bundle can be used for a summer or even a wedding card. I thought this would make a beautiful wedding thank you card. So I'm going to show you how I did this one. So we're going to start with our Smoky Slate piece, and I just realized I didn't bring my big sample up. So we're going to use this big guy. So this is the main image stamp in the stamp set. I'm just going to give it a clean because I want to make sure that it's clean. So we're going to stamp this a couple of times, sort of in opposite corners, using some basic gray ink. So this is a piece of Smoky Slate cardstock. It's 4 by 5 1/4 inches. Okay. And again, I'm stamping in basic gray ink. And I like doing this kind of tone on tone look, just for a subtle bit of a background. So I'm going to stamp once in one corner. Okay. And then again in the opposite corner. Now I should mention, because these are photopolymer stamps, when you are stamping, especially with a large stamp like this, you're going to want to have something with a bit of give underneath your paper. Okay. I have a pad of grid paper, which is fine. You can use a Stampin' Pierce mat. You could use a catalog. But you're going to want something that has a bit of give to account for your probably uneven work surface. Very few work surfaces are perfectly flat unless you're stamping on granite. Okay, so there is our background. Isn't that just such a pretty background? I just love it. Then we're going to add our beautiful die cut. So do you remember how I said this die cuts the peak through? It cut the one on our last card, but then we can use this die along with it. They sort of nest inside of each other to cut out a beautiful, intricate, lacy die cut. Okay, so that's how you get this look. And isn't that gorgeous? It's cut from some silver foil. So we're just going to glue this across the middle of our panel. So I'm just going to take a little bit of seal and run it across the middle. Most of that's going to get covered, so we're not going to have sticky fingers when we're touching our card. Okay, so there we go. There is our die cut. And that is going to get glued onto a white card base. So this is thick basic white cardstock. It's 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. So again, we're going to fold in half along our score line. And we're going to add a little bit of adhesive. Hi, Gail. Thank you. I'm glad you like this one. I love it too. It's very soft. So for those who maybe are not fans of fall, I just realized I put that on upside down. Oh well, our die cut's going the opposite way this time. No biggie. Okay, so let me show you how we are going to color our images for this one. So I used just the flowers. So the cool thing was, when I designed this card, I ran a bunch of the die cut images through. So I stamped in 3 times and I ran it through and cut the individual segments. So I had all these flowers left over, and it was perfect for this card. So there you go. You can do many different projects with one pass leaving machine. All right, so to color our flowers, I'm using another shade of the Natural Tones blends. So this is SU100. So it's a really, really soft, pale pink. And you're going to see, this one I've already colored. It's going to go up here. So I didn't worry about coloring this flower because we're not even going to see it. This one is going to go down here, and the only flower we're going to see is this one that's on top. So that's the one that I'm going to color. So I'm coloring this. I'm not going right to the ends of the petals as I'm coloring. I just wanted to leave the ends white. There are many flowers that are variegated, and I just love having that little bit of a white ruffle at the end of the petals. The other thing that I'm doing is taking care not to color over the little dots around the center of the flower, because I want to use a different color for those. Okay, so that's all there is to that. I'm coloring the center of my flower with light So Saffron. So I'm just going to color the center first with my brush tip, and then I'm going to use my bullet tip to do these little dots. And I find that's the easiest way to get sort of precise placement with my color, because the bullet tip is quite small, so it's easy to get those dots. Okay, now for my little berries here, I am using light pale papaya, and I didn't do any shading. I just quickly colored them in, and they do dry quite a bit lighter, so you will see they're going to fade out quite nicely. And then for my leaves, we are going to use light and dark soft seafoam. Now these ones I always have to check because they're so similar in color on the labels anyway. So just like I did on the last card, I'm going to lay down a layer of the light. So in this case, the light soft seafoam. And then I'm going to come in with my dark and add a bit of shadow and kind of just darken it down a little bit. And then I'm going to come back with my light and blend that out. Okay, really easy to get beautiful shading with these markers. For these leaves, I'm just going to color them, the entire leaf, in the light. You could use the dark as well. Doesn't really matter. But there we go. Done and done. Okay. So now we're going to set those aside for a minute. We're going to stamp our label. So this is a circle cut with the, where did I put my gray? I need to bring my gray ink pad over. Or did I? Where did, oh, yes, I did. I used it on the last card, or on the background. Here it is. Whew, been a long day, people. All right, so we're going to grab our basic gray. I'm going to stamp my thank you on this little die cut circle. So this is cut using the Stylish Shapes dies. Okay. All right. Hi, Linda. Welcome. Oh, thank you, Connie. I'm glad you like it. Hi, Claire. Okay, so now we've got our label stamp. So now it's just a matter of arranging our flowers. So we're going to put one at the top, one at the bottom, and then our single flower is going to get layered on top. So it's just a matter of adding a little bit of adhesive to the back of our circle. We're going to tuck this one up here and this one down here. And then this one is going to get layered on top. Now I actually had designed this originally to have this popped up, and then I had to take it off because I didn't like that it was popped. It just didn't work for me. I know, shocking. If you know me and my addiction to dimensionals, I'm sure you are shocked that I didn't pop that up. We are going to pop the entire thing up though on the front of our card. Okay, so we're going to add a couple of dimensionals there. So 1, 2. Just want to make sure this whole thing stays put. So we'll get rid of our backings. Come on. My nails are very soft. I've been doing a lot of like cleaning and dishwashing, and my nails are just, they're not in good shape. All right, so here we go. We're just going to layer this over that beautiful die cut piece. Okay, and then the last touch is a little bit of bling. So these are iridescent pearls. Now let me tell you about these. You may or may not have heard Stampin' Up! Is doing an event for World Card Making Day. It is a free event open to customers and demonstrators alike. And there are 3 bundles that are being focused on during this event. Cottage Rose, Cottage Wreath and a new one called Warm Welcome. And during September, if you order one of those bundles, you will get a free pack of these iridescent pearls, which is pretty sweet. So if you don't have any of those, well, you definitely don't have the Warm Welcome because it is a sneak peek bundle from the upcoming mini that's coming out in January. So if you are interested in participating in that event, there is no cost to participate. You don't have to purchase a bundle to participate. You can just watch if you'd like, just like you're watching now. But if you want to participate and need to purchase a bundle, you can do that and get your free pearls. Now, if you're ordering from my online store, you do need to enter the code for the pearls into your cart. Okay, you need to add it to your cart, but it will give them to you for free. Okay, the pearls will not automatically add to your cart. Okay, so that is card number 2. Hope you like that one. And moving on, so we've done fall, we've done spring, summer. Now it's time, of course, for Christmas. So here is a Christmas card I came up with this beautiful bundle. So let me just pull my supplies over. And I'm going to show you how we did this one. So this, again, uses products from the bundle, but then I brought in a couple of other die cut pieces just to make it a little bit more festive. So here we go. I'm going to dump all my bits out at once. So we are starting with a piece of Boughs of Holly designer paper. It's this beautiful soft stripe. Again, 4 by 5¼ inches. I don't have a host code, Cheryl. You can just log into my site and order that way. I don't generally use a monthly host code, but you are welcome to just place your order. Okay, so it's 4 by 5¼ inches. And then I have a piece of sweet sorbet. So I really like this sort of soft red with the soft succulent and evening evergreen. I just think it's a really lovely combination. So this piece is cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 inches. So we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of adhesive here and layer those just like that. Okay, and then here is another one of those beautiful die cuts. This time I've cut it from the distressed gold specialty paper, and oh my goodness, is that not gorgeous? I absolutely love it. So we're going to glue this down and kind of build our card with this as our backdrop. So just like before, we're just going to add some seal here. Again, it's going to get covered, so we don't really need to worry about, you know, it's sticky, being sticky coming through. It's all going to get covered up. So we've added our seal. And then we are going to layer a couple of die cuts. So I have here the largest circle from the Stylish Shapes dies. It's die cut from Evening Evergreen cardstock. And then I have a circle that's cut using the Layering Circles dies from, again, that Distressed Gold. And then I've embossed it using the Quatrefoil embossing folder. And oh my goodness, look how gorgeous that is. If you like sort of like a vintage look, oh, that's just such a beautiful combo. So we are going to go ahead again and layer our 2 circles. So a little bit of glue, and we'll center our beautiful gold inside our evergreen. Okay, and then that is going to get glued onto our card. So we don't want to completely cover up that beautiful die cut. It's going to kind of be quite close to the edge. So we're going to add a little bit of adhesive there. And I like to, I'm kind of OCD about this, but I like my quatrefoils to be right side up. So I'm just paying attention to that. Thanks, Cheryl. Thanks, Peggy. I'm glad you like this one. And then I have a couple of die cuts. These are cut using the Decorated Pine dies. So these are part of a bundle in the mini. You're going to see this bundle this fall. I'll be featuring it. But I love the look of die cutting these little pine sprigs from another pattern from the Boughs of Holly DSP. I love the variation in green and the little hint of white. It kind of looks frosted. So these are going to kind of layer this way. I'm not going to glue them down quite yet, but that's where they're going to go. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside for a minute, and we're going to do a little bit of coloring. So again, I have one of the florals and 2 of the leaves and berries. So again, I'm going to show you how to color a flower, how to color the flower first. So the flower, I'm using my light and dark sweet sorbet. You could certainly do this with one of the other reds. Real red or cherry cobbler will absolutely work. So just like before, I'm going to lay down a little bit of the light. This time I'm coloring the whole petal, and I'm taking extra care not to color over those little circles around the middle. I actually want to leave them white on this, and I love that they look like little pearls when you leave them white. So I'm coloring 3 petals. I'm only doing 3 petals at a time. That's so that the ink doesn't dry completely when I go to add my dark, because I want it to blend. Okay, so I've got my 3 petals. Then I'm going to come in with my dark, and this time I'm just kind of going over where the little hash marks or lines are on the petals. That's all I'm doing. And I'm not going to do a whole lot of blending. I'm just going to kind of bring my marker, my light again over top, just to blend that out a little bit. Okay, and then I can finish my last 2 leaves. So again, start with my light, and I'm being super careful around those little dots because I want them to stay white. And then the second petal. There we go. And again, we're going to add a little bit of the dark. Just a hint, you don't need a lot. And again, we will blend that out. And you're going to see, do you see the difference in shading? So this is still wet, this is dry. It's going to dry quite a bit darker than it looks right now. Okay, so that's my flower. I'm going to do the center in dark Daffodil Delight. Okay, taking care to make sure I leave those little circles around the middle white. Isn't it pretty? It just makes the center pop, I think. All right, my leaves here, I'm using light and dark So Saffron. So same basic procedure that we used on the previous card. I'm going to start with my layer of light on both leaves. And then I'll bring in my dark. I'm adding just a little bit of shadow kind of under the petals and sort of under where the leaf overlaps. And then again, I'm going to blend that down with the light again. Now, you certainly can start with your dark if you prefer. I just find that I get better blending when I have a layer of the light down first. That's just a matter of personal preference. Okay, to do the leaves and berries, I am using just the light light soft succulents on my leaves. Now, I should mention these images are actually stamped in Evening Evergreen ink. That is another shade of classic ink that will work with the Stampin' Blends, so it won't run. You do need to make sure it has time to dry before you try to color. If you stamp and start coloring right away, it will run. But if you stamp and give it a couple minutes to set and dry, it works quite nicely with your Stampin' Blend. So another option for inks that you can stamp your images that you're going to color. So we'll just color each one of the leaves. I'm not doing any shading. I just colored in straight up light soft succulent. And then to color my berries, I'm actually using light soft suede. The light soft suede looks rather golden, especially when it's against this sort of distressed gold specialty paper. So I'm just coloring my berries in the light soft suede. Okay, so there we go. So now it's just really a matter of arranging. So we're going to start with our larger, did I do my larger one on top? Yeah, I think I did the larger one up here. So we're going to add a little bit of adhesive, both top and bottom. So we'll add our larger sprig of berries at the top and our smaller one at the bottom, right about there. Okay, and then it's a matter of adding our pine branches. So I'm going to add a little bit more adhesive to the back of my leaves and berries here. And then we're going to sort of arrange these so that there's some coming out the top, and then there are some kind of coming out the bottom. And I actually like to trim these. I usually cut this little guy at the bottom off so I can kind of use him separately. So we'll add this one here. And then this little guy is going to kind of peek out here like that. So we'll add another little bit of glue. And I don't like that the stem is showing, so we're going to get rid of that. And then we'll add this one down here. Okay, so there is our arrangement. It is going to go on with some dimensionals. So we'll add a few. Make sure things stay put. Get rid of our backings. And then we're going to layer that. Now again, I don't want to put it over too far because I don't want to cover that beautiful die cut. I want to make sure I see the die cuts peeking out behind. Okay, and then I have already stamped and fussy cut the sentiment here. So this is from the Brightest Glow stamp set. It's all sentiments and has this beautiful Merry Christmas. So I stamped it in Evening Evergreen ink and then fussy cut it. Now I know some people get really stressed about fussy cutting sentiments. If you think about it as just another image, it makes it easier. Okay, so just think about following the image, and it's really not that hard to fussy cut. So we're going to add a dimensional, actually I'm going to use a mini on the end that is going to hang off our little arrangement here. And then I'm going to put just a titch of glue on the part that's going to overlap. And it's going to go on right about here. I don't want to cover too much of my flowers because they're so pretty. So we'll add that right about there. Okay, and then that is going to get glued onto an Evening Evergreen card base, 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. So we'll fold that in half along our score line and add a little bit of adhesive to the back of our card front. And then we're going to pop that on just like that. Okay, and then the last touch again is a little bit of bling. These champagne rhinestones are my new go-to. They work with everything. So I'm going to add a couple more of these, just sort of peeking out amongst my little arrangement here. Put one up here. They kind of remind me of little twinkle lights. I think that's why I like them so much. I'll put one up here, just like that. And there you go. Now I'll show you on my sample. Did I do anything? Yes, I did. So I stamped another sentiment from the Brightest Glow stamp set and then a couple more of the little berry sprigs. Okay, so let me clean up my mess here. I'll bring back all 3 projects, then I'll show you a couple other ideas using this fabulous bundle. So here we go. We've got Christmas, we've got spring, summer, and we've got fall. So this bundle will take you through the year. Okay. All right. Here are a couple of other ideas. Here is one really rustic looking. I stamped on crumb cake cardstock and then colored with my watercolor pencils. So I wanted to show you can color with more than just your Stampin' Blends. Here is another one I did. Super simple. Again, using more of that Kraft cardstock. It's a great rustic sort of fall option for your projects. Here's one I posted yesterday. I used some of the Rustic Harvest designer paper. This is actually Rustic Harvest as well. Here's a completely different look. So here I actually did a little bit of embossed resist with watercolor. So I heat embossed the image in white on watercolor paper and then watercolored using my water painter and my ink pads. Totally different look. And then one more that has a sort of faux embossed look. So I die cut a couple of these beautiful detailed die cuts, did tone on tone. So I just glued them onto cardstock of the same color to give a sort of embossed look. And then I fussy cut some of the Rustic Harvest DSP as well. Okay. I should probably show you. These are also projects that we did for my Fond of Autumn class last week. I'll just quick show you. I posted these a while back. But this is a fun fold that we did. Here's another fun fold. The belly band slides off and then it opens like this. Here's one that's just all about the beautiful colored images. Here's another one for spring or summer, different color palette. And one more idea for Christmas. Okay, so many things to try with this bundle. It is, as I said, it's fabulous, and I feel like it needs more real estate in the catalog. It's that great. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed these projects, and I hope that you have a great week, and I will see you again next week for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.